Hello, welcome. It's the 0scars, episode 4. It's the show. You know it. You love it. We're reviewing every album by Taylor Swift. I'm John.
I'm Kylan.
I'm Alex.
I'm Anna.
I'm Eli.
Thanks, Eli. You ruined our bit. I'm going to pretend Anna didn't say that, and then I'm going to say this. But I'll cut this part out so nobody will know. And, of course, a special guest with us today. You know her and love her from tweets such as, due to personal reasons, I will no longer be. And the difference, I think the main difference between football and punting my cat is that I never truly enjoyed football. It's Anna Wolfenbarger. Welcome to the show, Anna.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I know
Anyways, what?
Yeah.
Alex, what?
Huh?
Not from the
tweets. Huh?
Oh.
Oh, I only know her from the tweets.
I only know her from the tweets.
Who are you people?
Alex, I can't help but notice that we're outnumbered, and I'm worried that we might get voted off our own show.
Oh, there are too many.
It's a 3 to 5 Wolfenbarger majority, and I'm getting a little nervous. I'm sweating a lot.
Bring in the babies; they'll be on our side.
That's true. Somebody is committing crimes with those notifications. Anyways, how are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Fantastic.
I'm just not doing well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Why is that?
Roller boogie.
Are you
So
saying
you're
it
not doing
didn't
well
raise
because
your
you're not
spirits?
living the life of the roller boogie?
One at a time, please.
Okay.
Alex, you.
I was saying, so you're not doing well because you're not living the life of the roller boogie?
Yeah, no. I don't think I can really emulate any of that.
That's fair. Now,
Give
John.
it time.
It's hard roller skates to fill, really.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
They're big, small shoes. I'm doing all right. Been watching a few flicks. I don't know if you guys have. I can remember some of them. I watched Hustlers today. It was okay. It's like The Big Short, but for strippers. It happened. I gave it 3 stars. I moved on. I didn't really pay that much attention. I don't really remember what else I watched. I haven't watched that much.
Fair enough.
What have you guys been watching?
I've watched a lot in the last since we've done the last one. I'll start with I watched a couple Clint Eastwood westerns. I watched High Plains Drifter and Pale Rider. I really liked High Plains Drifter. I also watched The Thing for the first time, the original Thing from 1982. It was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you should. And if you have, you should watch it again. And then I watched another John Carpenter movie, They Live, which is Rowdy Roddy Piper fighting aliens. And it's fun. And then there's something else I watched, but I'll let Eli and Anna introduce it because we watched it together.
Oh,
Speaking of wrestlers, we watched Double or Nothing, the AEW pay-per-view event of a lifetime. Of every year they have one. But anyway, yeah, it was pretty good. I'd give it like 4 out of 5. Would have preferred more Sammy Guevara, but that's about it.
More of them running over him with stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Hit more people with vehicles is my notes, or horses. In non-wrestling news, I watched Honeyland, which is a documentary about bees. So, yeah.
I started that documentary.
But it's about this old woman. Where was it set? You don't remember? It's like the Balkans or something. I know I just threw a whole region of the bus.
Yeah.
No,
Not here.
Where was it? I feel really bad. I don't know. But
You should.
Turkey?
Not just for that.
It wasn't Turkey.
Place the same name, but I forgot.
You have a phone.
No, and it was pretty decent. Very sad. Nice little glimpse into the life of a person. So I enjoyed it. And I also
It was very good. I liked it a lot.
yeah.
It
Would
was
recommend.
Macedonia.
It's near the Balkans.
It's close.
I also watched a Clint Eastwood film called The Outlaw Josie Wales.
That's supposed to be good. I still need to watch it.
It was pretty good. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I mean, it was also kind of a typical Clint Eastwood Western film.
So awesome.
Yes, exactly.
Is that the one where he has the brother who's an identical twin?
No, there was no identical twin in this one. It was the one where he gets mad and shoots a lot of people.
That doesn't sound
That
like
doesn't
him.
narrow it down.
Exactly.
Well, very good. Some fine stuff. Almost as fine as a little film I believe we all watched today, or at least this week, Roller Boogie. And obviously there's a lot we could talk about that film, and we will. But I think it's time for the time synopses. So I, this week, have the coveted 25-second option. So I will see if I can share my screen of this sweet timer and do my darndest to summarize what the heck is going on in Roller Boogie. I feel almost more intimidated with the bigger time slot, because it's like then you want to go for all the details, but that's where it trips you up. Then you realize you don't have the time you thought you had. But we're going to see how this goes. So Roller Boogie in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so there's this girl, Terry. She's really good at the flute, but she's not good at much else. But she loves roller skating. But then there's Bobby, and he's really good at roller skating, but he's good at nothing else. They meet. They fall in love. They dance all over Venice Beach. They're having a good time. When suddenly, what's that? Gangsters? They're going to burn down the roller rink? That couldn't be it. But then they find some evidence. They have secretly a tape that they collected inadvertently. It exonerates the roller rink. They have to. They chase. They're being chased by mobsters. They deliver it to the police. The Roller Boogie is saved.
Incredible.
I've really outdone myself, yeah.
I think next is me.
Yeah.
I believe
Oh,
so.
boy.
All right. You good for me to count you down?
I guess so.
All right. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Okay, recently depossessed Terry is on a mission with her flute to learn how to rollerblade for some reason. She falls in love with Bobby James, keep the change. They try and save the roller rink because it's trying to be bought out by a shopping mall. They throw fruit at the mall people, and then they dance and win a trophy.
With time to spare.
I know.
You
Wow.
had
Yeah.
3 whole seconds.
Yeah. You had a
I
lot
reached
to
the
work
end
with.
of the plot, so
He just stopped. No more. This is
It is
Kylan?
me.
All right.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Super long opening of people dancing in roller skates. Then Bobby James meets Linda Blair, who's Linda Blair's rich. Her name's Terry. They fall in love. They start dancing. Then, mobsters are like, hey, give us the roller rink. The guy's like, no, but he does. Then eventually they get the cops involved and they save it.
not bad.
Oh boy, how do I top that?
Just mention they dance for 20 minutes, like every 5 minutes.
Just every other sentence. And then they danced a long time. All right. 3,
All right.
2, 1, go.
Lots of rollerblading, typical 80s style romance between poor boy and rich girl. Roller rink is gonna get burned down, gangsters, and they save it at the end.
Okay.
Anna, you got 5 seconds.
The coveted 5-second slot.
Perfect.
All right. I'll count you at 3, 2, 1, go.
Sexual harassment and death threats, but make it funky.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
These are all facts.
Incredible.
Excellent. So
Applause all around for everyone involved.
yeah. Truly our finest work. But I guess we can sort of meander our way through the plot with a little bit more nuance if we dare, and sort of hit on big points as we come to them. So if I recall, I watched this movie over like 3 different nights. Like I watched it in stages. But I should actually, before I start, I do want to share a brief story, a brief tidbit that occurred the first night that I tried to watch Roller Boogie. It was about 2:30 a.m. And I was like, it was the night when we were It was the night before when we were first supposed to record, and we had to postpone it a few times.
Mhm.
But I was like, okay, I better watch the movie for the podcast. And this is the first time I've really hit up against that wall where it's like, I don't want to watch the movie we have to watch, which I can only assume will happen many more times. But I'm glad that it's starting to hit now. I said, okay, I look for it online. You can't even get it through legal means, which is interesting because Amazon is like, the content provider does not allow us to sell you this movie, which is an interesting sales tactic. I don't know why you would want to prevent people from even buying your film, but they've decided it, so I had to turn to piracy. So I looked up what?
Yeah, my copy was just on the road.
Well, that's not yours. I don't think you can keep that.
It was the world's.
This is the world's roller
like
boogie.
a resource. It was gold, black oil from the depths.
They wanted us to have it.
Yeah. The spirits coalesced.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I plugged Roller Boogie free movie full into my Google and/or anonymous search bar, and it came up with a few results. The first one was Look Movie, and I was like, okay, I'll try this one out. Or it was a nondescript movie site that could be any site. Anyway, I went to that one. I opened it up. I started playing the movie. Okay, pretty cool. It's like it's all around like a club. That kind of makes sense. It is, the roller boogie. I hadn't seen the roller skates yet. I was about 4 minutes into the film, but it's essentially a man getting out of a car with a woman, and they walk into a club, and they're really well known. It's a lot of like, hey, how you doing? Like that kind of stuff. And there was a guy who I could have sworn up and down looked exactly like Don Cheadle. And I was like, is that Don Cheadle? And so I went and looked at the cast list of Roller Boogie, and it was not Don Cheadle. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because he was like, this was the late 70s, and he would have been too young. Am I a racist? Did I just assume this man was Don Cheadle because he had darker skin? Anyway, so I had this moment of self-reflection. I keep watching the movie. They keep bringing up porn. This guy goes to this back room, this back kitchen, and he sees this kid who's like 17, but I think the kid wants to be a porn star. It's like, this does not seem like the Roller Boogie. Where's the roller part? I see the boogie, but I don't see the roller. So I exit full screen and I read the top of the page, and it doesn't say Roller Boogie as I first assumed. It instead says Boogie Nights. So that's how I watched the first 10 minutes of Boogie Nights. Anyways, this movie.
Incredible story.
Yeah. I was
disappointed than the one we watched.
I was disappointed that I found out so soon, because I think if I'd gotten most of the way, I would have just kept rolling with it, as one would.
Right.
But Roller Boogie. We open. It's a lot of close-up, very loving shots of man's greatest achievement. Not the wheel. Well, kind of the wheel. Not fire. Not the internet, not spacecraft. It's the roller skate. Specifically the roller skate of Bobby James, the man with 2 first names. And Bobby James, he looks at these roller skates. I want to get someone for myself who looks at me the way that Bobby James looks at his pair of roller skates as he laces it up, because it is with the most intense and profound love. I don't know if this is something that you guys got a sense of, but it's so clear in that shot that roller skating is Bobby's world.
It is his life.
Yeah, I've never felt that before.
No. Love?
Not like that.
Oh.
But anyway, so Bobby laces up his skates. He goes outside. The guy just hanging out like right outside his building. It's his presumably like best or very good friend Phones. Called that because he wears headphones, but they don't know how to say the word head because it's Venice Beach. So that they say, let's go skate around, and they start skating, and it's pretty clear pretty quickly that the plague has descended on California.
Right.
Not a zombie apocalypse, but rather not coronavirus, but rather boogie fever. But it does operate similarly to these diseases, because as Phones and Bobby James sort of skate down the street, they keep accruing people like behind them. As if just by being in their presence, possibly without a mask and safe social distancing procedures, they might infect these people with boogie fever. and they are forced to follow on roller skates. Pretty soon, the whole town is following them.
Right.
They have intense choreographed dance work. Every person must be spending tens or hundreds of hours a day practicing their roller skating. I enjoyed Alex Haley's still on the pod.
One part about that
Yes.
scene, as they're skating, they find a guy and a girl on top of a dumpster making out.
Yes.
And they're like, hey, come join us. Both of them are wearing roller skates already.
They are.
Yes.
Like they
Anna brought that up when we were watching it.
I think everyone around wears roller skates.
Yeah.
All the time.
I've never been to California, so I do not know if this is true or not. It could be for all I know.
I'm sure that's canon.
Yeah.
Real life? Okay.
I know somebody who knew somebody who has seen a movie in California, and I do think that's true. So
Okay.
I think you're right on the money on that one.
Cool.
But I think we should note that it's not that they have like a quick choreograph, like everyone like jumps together, something fun like that or quirky. It's an extended montage which goes on for like 5 or 10 minutes. It's a long time.
Yeah.
And everyone is a perfect skater with the exception of, I'm trying to remember his name, of Complete Control Conway. The man who of Complete Control Kanye, the man who has impressively no balance, and yet
Perfect balance.
yes, it's so strange because it's so clear that he's a good skater, because you'd have to be a good skater in order to flail with utter lack of control the way that Conway does. But Conway is a loose cannon. He finally he finally destroys a set of trash cans, and he's out of the scene, but not out of the movie, because then other things happen.
So, I might be remembering incorrectly.
No.
The guy that jumped over the 4 trash cans at the beginning, do we ever
Yes.
see him again?
No.
Because they're like, oh my God, it's this guy, and he does the thing, and he never shows up.
They're so excited for him. He's clearly a cultural icon in that town.
It's good world building.
It is good world building.
Yeah.
And it's also the moment, which I guess it's very soon on, but it's the moment when you realize, oh, this isn't a movie. This is a ploy by a bunch of skaters to make a long dance montage. Any semblance of a movie traipsing on top of the rest of this footage is just purely coincidence. It's accidental. But then we cut to the interior of Terry Barkley's mansion.
Mhm.
She lives with her parents, her father is a lawyer and her mother is a woman.
Bill Popper.
I wasn't going to say it, mostly because there's nothing to allude to that fact. But anyways, she goes downstairs. It's very clear that her parents are utterly disinterested. They're self-absorbed. They're just reading their newspapers nonstop. They do not have time to look up.
No.
If this was remade in 2020, they would just be on their phones scrolling. But this was scrolling back in '79. Terry has a fun little exchange where it sort of sets the tone of this movie, which is confusing when Terry she's testing their boundaries, right? Her family's boundaries. And she's just like, well, this seems like as good a day as any. I'm going to go down to the beach and commit suicide. And her mother says, that's nice, lovely. Have a good day. And Terry is out.
He's out there.
As you do.
Yeah.
Their housekeeper's like, kids. She hears it and just walks off.
Indeed. But anyways, she goes down to the beach. This is where like the events of the movie start running together for me, because it's just sort of like you can only gauge where you are in the film by either how long it has been or how soon it will occur that there will be another long skating montage. So I think we're near one.
She goes to the she goes to the beach with her friend in like this super nice but weird looking car, and then it cuts to Bobby James like working at a booth, I guess, renting out roller skates, and his friends are like, come on, and he's like, I'm working. They're like, come on. He's like, okay.
He just leaves.
Then he starts dancing in like a circle.
Yeah.
And he'll like pull in some random girls, and he goes up to Terry, and she's like, no, and just walks away.
Terry's having none
him.
of it.
He
And
does.
also,
Please.
I was gonna say also Bobby keeps bringing up repeating. He keeps repeating the fact that he is planning to go to the Olympics.
Yes.
I wasn't aware that roller skating was an Olympic sport.
Not,
So I'm not sure exactly what category he would be filling in for, but he is convinced that he is going to make it to the Olympics. Something that is brought up 10 to 20 times, but never really completed in any meaningful way. It's not an arc. It's just a thing that they keep peppering in there.
right.
But anyways,
He also targets Terry
this is true.
strongly.
What does he do exactly? I forget.
So they're dancing, they're just doing the big spinny thing around the rink, right? And he spots her, his mind's eye locks on, right?
His
And
seventh eye, his third chakra, is opened up, and he's homing.
it opens to let her in. And so he's like, he's just sort of dancing. He tries to get like in front of her to do some moves, but he doesn't really do any moves for someone who is supposedly going to the Olympics. I often think his moves are some of the worst shown.
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. There are other people doing like cool moves, and he just kind of like does a jump.
I love
It's
the
like,
featured skaters.
the featured skaters. Mwah. But gosh, he does some moves. She's not really interested. Oh, gosh, they start talking. Oh,
Can we?
because Kanye comes back in.
Yeah.
Yes. This is,
Kanye Twitty.
which frankly I will say is a pretty well set up plot point. It's just consistent that at times convenient to the plot. Conway will enter into the scene and just attempt to run over whoever the important character is in that moment. So he comes zipping from left field to just utterly pulverize and destroy. He is a cruise missile locked on, taking out Terry for good by accident. And and Bobby James, the man with two first names, sees his opportunity and tackles her out of the way, and then continues to hold on, after knocking her out of the way until she agrees to let him teach.
Yeah, she was going to pay him
how to skate.
teach her.
He wants him to teach her how to skate.
He also follows her into the bathroom, the women's.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't. I think he tries to, right? Does he get all the
Like
way?
he gets like a foot in there, then he gets stuff
yeah.
thrown at him.
Yuri and another girl like kick him out.
Yeah.
I also love that he tackled her to prevent her from being tackled.
Yeah.
The only.
And like he tackled her into a chair. She just would have went to the ground if Conway would have tackled her.
He would have been done for.
I can only assume that previously in the movie's universe, anyone that is tackled by Kanye immediately dies.
Yeah.
So that may be what we don't see is that Bobby's having flashbacks to the last 30 people who Kanye came in contact with. It just
Right.
He got to
knocked
save
down
her.
like 4 people before he got to her, and it wasn't just you just bump into him; he like pushed.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny.
We'll see on subsequent rewatches. Those people aren't in the movie after that.
It's so true.
Come on. I'm kidding, man.
Kanye's body count's up to 30 by now.
But yeah, after that, they skate or whatever, and then they skate for a bit.
And the movie ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
But then he like flirts with her more, and she ends up leaving with like 2 other guys to skate, just
Yeah.
like get back at him.
Yeah.
They also talked to the roller rink owner guy, Jammer was his name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he did roller derby, and he's like, he's won so many trophies, he's the best ever, and the guy's like, okay, guy. But yeah.
We don't care. He's an old man.
Okay, what happens after?
I got the Wikipedia pulled up to jog my memory.
Yeah.
It's rough.
It all honestly kind of runs together because while the plot of this movie might be listed as like local teens stop mobsters from taking over the roller rink, that doesn't even begin to happen until an hour into the film.
Yeah.
So everything before that is just basically skating montages and just sort of Bobby and Terry flirting or various stages of whatever that is.
Yeah.
Well, so the next day, like their friends are like, teasing them about it. And then Terry ends up going back to the beach. But this was after that one guy like sexually assaulted her, right?
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin.
Yeah, he catches her in the garage with a towel on.
Yeah.
And just tries to smooch up all on her.
I don't know why he took off his underwear when she spilled cake on his pants.
It goes right through, yeah.
So I don't understand. Were they dating beforehand or something?
I don't think so. I think maybe it was like their parents.
In my
maybe
head
trying to put
canon,
them
it was an
together.
arranged marriage,
No,
yeah.
it seemed like they're friends. The rest of the movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that makes it so much worse.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Well, no, they're siblings.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Yeah, okay, that reminds me. Yeah. Anyway, so she escapes his clutches, right?
Yeah.
Takes
Well-
off in a weird car.
Yeah. Well, specifically, what happens is that first she's playing her flute, and then
Right.
he notices that she has a leg, and he is like freaking out, like he is sweating, and
He's
he
never
just
been
has
to
like he is here for it, and so then she's sitting next to him, and then he like tries to like grope her or whatever, and then she just takes all the cakes on the tray she was holding and just smashes them on him immediately, which is a very good move.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then he tries to make out with her in the garage. So her solution is to steal his pants while telling him that his thing is not that big, and then drives away, leaving him to run out into the road with only
For no reason.
the white button up.
And then he like tries to run back to the house, and his mom comes out. He's like,
Mother.
as he stands there.
Cool.
But I feel like we should probably just jump ahead to the point where things start happening, so we're not
Yeah.
bogged
Well,
in total summary.
so yeah, real quick, they just go to the beach. She starts skating with Bobby James. Oh yeah,
Relationship blossoms.
relationship. He ends up saying at some point, because she's like talking about paying him, he's like, so you're gonna pay me for something else, while they're laying on the beach. So she gives him, and I'm quoting Wikipedia here, a mighty slap in return.
The
Mighty
best
it is.
movie happened shortly after that scene.
Which was?
So as we all know, so after the mighty slap, they both run back to the parking lot where Bobby James's friends are, right? Bobby's friend Hoppy is there with his fruit stand, right?
Is he the one with the annoying voice?
No, I
No.
hope you're not meaning who you think you are. First he offers, right? He offers to Terry. He says,
My chariot awaits, madam.
right?
Yeah, that's
He-
what I'm thinking of.
And then
Yeah.
he produces
Out of
from
his pocket.
out of his pocket a mighty fruit. And he looks at her and says, "May I recommend a passion fruit?"
Is this Tim St. Pierre?
Poppy, this is a line we had to rewind several times because it just hits.
It really
Hoppy
does.
is the best character. I know we haven't introduced him until this very point, and he really doesn't do that much.
He's integral.
He's
His defining character trait is having an uncle who owns a truck that carries a lot of fruit.
And he has an annoying voice.
no,
No.
his voice is perfectly cadenced.
Angelic.
Anyway, what? Kyle, and go.
Well, okay, so after that, like, Terry goes home, gets in a fight with her mom. Is like, I don't want to play the flute. And, her mom takes a Valium.
I'm glad she didn't make the Quaalude.
Wait,
Terry
did that
runs
happen
away.
in the movie?
Yeah,
Huh?
she's like, I need
I
a
missed
Valium.
that.
She pulls out of her purse sleeping pills.
Oh,
Quaaludes. Valium.
Yes. So Terry runs away. And then she calls Bobby James, like she calls a payphone.
yeah.
And some guy answered and is like, hello, this is a payphone. What are you calling this for? And he's like, oh, well, let me look around. And Bobby James is like sitting like
In a balcony, like an upstairs
Yeah.
window.
with like
above
his
the payphone.
leg hanging over it. And he's like, you
Never
Bobby
explains
James,
what that place is.
phone's for you, and just leaves it. So he goes down, answers it. They have breakfast. And then they start, skating more, a big long montage. And then like the whole Jammers situation with the mafia being like, "Hey, sell it," while holding a gun to him, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Okay." And some of the other kids hear it, including Bones hears it, which is important for reasons we will mention. But just real quick, the kids end up finding out Terry's dad's like the lawyer for the guy, and he's like, "Nah, it's fine.
For the
It's a
mobster
legal deal."
specifically.
Yeah. And he's
Got
like,
it.
"It's a legal deal. You can't stop it, Terry." And then the kids end up hearing like on a recording that Bones had. They hear them threatening him, so they're like, "Okay, so it's not a legal deal." So
Right.
they find out. The mobsters, figure out they have the tape and chase them while they're skating, and it all comes to a head at the roller rink place, and they're like, "We have this evidence," and they're like, "It's not admissible," and then they have Bones go play it over like the loudspeakers so everyone hears it, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, this is happening." And then like the mobster pulls out a gun, I think. I can't really remember.
Mm.
And then doesn't Conway end up like skating in for no reason and tackles him?
It's
Yes.
true, yeah. And he
He
died
saved the
instantly.
day.
Yeah.
He came in at Mach speeds.
In my headcanon,
I think they would have been safer with the mobsters.
in my headcanon, Conway is not like a person. He's
Hmm.
rather just a chaotic force, like of the
Boogie.
universe.
Plot device.
Maybe, yeah, like an extension of like the roller skating god. And he's just sent in when he's needed to to cause chaos and destruction. But he's like a
But-
chaotic neutral type. Like
Yeah.
he was just sent into the situation, but he could have hit anybody and it would have changed the tide.
There's multiple timelines where he hit different people.
That's so
It's like
true.
that episode of Community.
The movie splits so finely.
But all the kids like pile on the mobsters or something, and the cop comes up
Yeah.
and he says, "Is this like a new form of disco dance?" For some reason.
They're men with
Crazy
guns.
kids.
It was the same.
Yeah, they arrest the mobsters, send them to prison, and they go to the roller boogie, and Bobby James and Terry win it. Then you flash forward a long time ahead. I don't remember if it said how long.
I think
But-
it's like the next day.
It is?
I don't think it is.
What
I
she
thought
was
it was
she was packing to leave the day that she was chased
Maybe it
to
is.
go to Juilliard.
Who knows?
Either way,
It's impossible to know.
No one could find this out.
she's leaving and she's like, goes to Bobby James on the beach and is like, "Here's the trophy," and he's like, "Why don't you keep it?" And she's like, "It won't fit in the luggage." As if she doesn't have a passenger seat she can just sit in it.
Well, he also specifically says, she tries to give it to him, and he specifically says, "I don't have room for it in my apartment."
I love the most mundane reasons for like I can't have the trophy.
And she says, "It won't fit in my suitcase," and then they cry.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
And
That
she
is the
drives
sad
away. She drives away and it ends.
Well, what does she do with the trophy?
She burns it.
He took it, right? He ends up
Did
having
he?
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe it doesn't fit in his apartment.
I was
It
burnt by
Doesn't
that.
fit because he built a giant
He's gonna-
shrine to his Olympic awards he would have. I hope it was.
I wonder if I think what he meant was that obviously he and the trophy can't fit in the apartment at the same time. So he's going to sacrifice his own apartment. He's going to be homeless so that the trophy has a place to stay.
Makes no sense.
That's in line with his character and inline skating. Thank you. So
What a movie.
that is the plot. There is one more thing I wanted to mention in the credits.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
please.
Yeah. Anna was actually the one to point this out, so I think you should.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we were just, watching the credits scroll, reflecting on the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it starts listing the featured skaters, the ones without characters. And I, terrifying Eli, scream
She
because I see a name that calls out to me. So I scream it. It says pumpkin mayo was a person's name.
I tried to look them up. I couldn't find
No
pumpkin
idea.
mayo.
They're only film.
They're only known for pumpkin mayo.
I was hoping for Seymour Butts.
Man,
I was hoping for Torgo.
Aren't we all always hoping for
I think so.
him skating would be beautiful.
It would, especially with those knees.
He could be the
Well,
Conway character.
Kanye was a prequel. That was the backstory for Torgo before we met the master.
Torgo. All right.
A hero.
All right, so now we're going to move into our trivia section. So me and Eli, we've prepared some trivia questions regarding Roller Boogie that we are now going to begin to relay to Anna, Alex, and John. So,
Good.
if you remember from last week's episode, Alex and John had a question about a similar movie coming out to The Thing with Two Heads in like the same year. Well, surprisingly, the same year Roller Boogie came out, there was another roller disco movie that came out in 1979. What was the name of it? A. American
Nights.
Rink. B. Roller Heat. C. Skate Town, USA. D. Skater Has Fallen. Or E. Rollerland.
The all of
Skater
them.
Has Fallen.
What was the third one?
Skate Town, USA.
I picked that one.
I'm also picking Skate Town.
I agree.
You all are correct. It was Skate Town, USA.
I was in that movie.
I really wish that it was Skater Has Fallen, though.
Can you imagine? It's Gerard Butler roller skating.
It's like a 5-year-old. How old is he?
He's only what, like 29 right now, so it's like he's got
As
to
a
be pretty
fetus.
young. Yeah,
All right.
prepubescent.
Prepubescent. Okay. So here's the next question. What role did
Or-
Jim Bray, who plays Bobby James in the film, so what role did Bobby James originally audition for? Is it A, Bobby James, B, Franklin, who, if you don't remember, is Terry's sexual assaultee
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
C, a featured skater / background extra. D, a stunt double. Or E, Sergeant Banner.
Who was Sergeant Banner in the movie? Is that allowed?
It's the cop.
Yeah, it's the cop that they talk to
Oh.
at locations.
I'm gonna say he auditioned for a stunt double, but he was so good. They're like, "You need to be our star."
So hot.
Yeah, Bobby
Yeah.
James. So
Keep
hot
the
right
change.
I'm gonna say featured skater.
now. Okay.
I'm gonna say the
You what?
rapist friend.
The rapist friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Here is the answer. He was the stunt double
Yes.
Dang.
for Bobby James, who had yet
Oh.
to have been cast, and they said, "This guy's pretty good."
Well, at least he could skate.
Yeah, at
And
least
it
he
was his
can
only
skate.
film.
This was his only film that he ever made.
A piece of trivia about it that was interesting is, like, the agents and stuff didn't want the actors to skate that much. They were like, we want the actors to act and the skaters to skate.
And they should stay in separate green rooms. in this movie.
Yeah. Which, yeah, they used a lot of stunt doubles for most of this game.
True.
That just seems
So.
difficult.
Next
Can't have them
question.
on set the same day.
we have staggered days for skaters and actors.
So, producer Irwin Yablans was also involved
Your
in
boy.
the first 3 movies of which slasher series? A. Friday the 13th. B. Nightmare on Elm Street. C. Halloween. D. Ginger Dead Man. Or E. The Legend of Bobby.
I've never heard of Ginger Dead Man in my life.
No,
I don't
I've
think that's
seen all of
real.
them. It is real. Look it up.
I won't.
It's in the Evil Bong universe, which is another film.
Is this made by Kevin Smith?
No, I wish.
Oh. Hmm.
Uh, I don't want to.
You didn't list Scream as an option, did you?
No.
Okay. I picked that.
A good option.
The only one I recognize that isn't The Legend of Bobby
What?
is Friday the 13th.
You don't recognize Halloween?
Or The Nightmare on Elm
Nightmare on Elm
Street?
Freddy Krueger?
Movies that I have seen. I don't know why I said that. I don't know.
You have a stroke.
I'm gonna say Halloween now.
I'll go with The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Anna, what early slasher influences do you see in Roller Boogie?
All of them.
All of them.
I'm gonna say Halloween.
Mostly Conway.
All right, so it was Halloween.
Oh.
3.
What was his capacity? Well, when we say involved.
He was a producer. We don't know
Oh,
how
okay.
involved he was, but he was one of the
He's credited.
producers.
Head
Okay.
producer.
I didn't know if this was a thing like he delivered a coffee on set once.
All right. Our next question involves a good ear and delicate listening to pick up on intricate and nuanced word
What?
and vowel cues. Okay. So we all remember the scene that we didn't discuss in the synopsis where she's playing she's playing the flute for all the people and by the pool or whatever. I don't know why that happened. But all of Bobby James's friends come with him, including Gordo, who is one of his friends. He is given a food at the party, which French listeners may recognize as an hors d'oeuvre. He pronounces it as horse duvers. Now, that was not the original line in the script. What was the original line in the script? Was it A, hors d'oeuvres? Was it B, orders? Was it C, hors d'oeuvres? Or was it D, hodor? What was originally written in the script?
Game of Thrones ripped off Roller Boogie.
It did.
It really did. You can see the influences. Conway is clearly the Jon Snow type.
What was the second to last option?
Hey,
What?
What was
I skipped over one and then didn't say the last one. I gave you all
start
these
over.
options.
Start over.
Start over. Okay. A. Horde. I just did. Okay. A delicate ear. A. Horde Eves. B. Orders. C. Hors D. Hodor. Or E. Or ovaries.
I'm gonna say it's Hordors.
Hordors?
I'll go with
Hordors.
odors.
I'm
You're gonna wait. What'd you say, John?
I'll go with orders.
Orders? Okay.
See, in my brain, I'm battling with the one that I want it to be, the one that's more
Right.
probable.
Right.
I'm also gonna say Hordors.
You're gonna go with Hordors?
I wish it was the ovaries one.
Well, Anna, your wish has been granted. It is or ovaries was the original line. But luckily, Beverly Garland, who plays Terry's mom, said, I don't think it should be that. And they switched it to horse duvers at the last moment.
Which then
Truly,
became the inspiration for the character Hodor.
it's true. Truly an important script decision. Really a game changer.
She said, we've got to draw the line somewhere,
You
okay?
can't say ovaries. Ugh.
This is a Christian film.
What will the French think of us?
This will never win a Cane Palm at this rate.
Okay. I also have other trivia. Kylan, do you have other trivia?
I
Just
mean, mine's
general,
just
not
the
questions.
IMDb.
Yeah.
Which you go
Hit
ahead.
us with those facts.
Okay. The director, Mark Lester, was a big fan of making B movies. I think he was sort of like Jerry Seinfeld in that way, but he did direct Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. So good success there. Let's see, what else do we have here?
I have one. So, when the principal photography ended, Linda Blair had to immediately fly to Florida. Why is this, you might ask? She had to go to court following her arrest for cocaine possession.
Nice.
How old was she at that point?
She was still as young as the girl in The Exorcist. She had not aged.
She was the spirit.
Maybe that's when she got the charges.
That makes sense.
Another
fun fact here.
So she was born in 59. She would have been around 20.
Okay, yeah, that's young enough to be doing cocaine.
Young enough.
So as Kylan mentioned earlier, Irwin Yablans, I don't know.
Good boy.
The story creator and later producer of Halloween 1, 2, and 3, discovered that he wanted to work on film at a very young age when he saw cutout scenes of film in the trash behind his his local movie theater, sort of alluding to what his films would be later in life.
Was he bitten by radioactive film? Is that
and
where
then he was bitten by a radioactive film?
Or did the film kill his parents?
And he became Irwin Yablans, destroyer of decent movies.
Oh.
Except for Halloween 1, 2, and 3, which are excellent.
Except for Roller Boogie.
I don't think you didn't see this week's film.
Kylan, trivia?
They initially considered John Travolta as a lead in this.
Oh, why didn't they get him?
It would have only cemented their status as a 0% film.
Yes.
He's in so many.
Yeah.
He's in like 4 or 5, at least. He keeps making them.
Sad.
It's a rite of passage.
I feel like
I've got more.
Pulling back the layers, though, of like the story around each film, I think you could find a connection with John Travolta. I think he's inexorably tied to all of these films.
You see, originally they wanted John Travolta as Torgo. But they saw this guy on LSD and they're like, absolutely, yes.
All right. Kimberly Beck, who plays Lana, who, if you don't recognize that name, is the friend of Terry. Not the rapist, but the normal one. Was final girl Trish Jarvis in Friday the 13th, the last chapter, which is actually one of the good Friday the 13th movies. So
let's see what Troy rated it.
There are a few. Let's see. I've got more. Kylan, do you have any more?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, I can still look, but I didn't have any more prepared.
Who earlier I mentioned changed that line in the script, most importantly.
Yeah.
Has been in 3 movies that were bad enough to be in Mystery Science Theater 3000. I think that's a good bit of trivia.
Is this movie a Mystery Science 3000 piece?
No, not this one. She's been in 3 other movies.
Dang.
That were bad enough. And one of my favorite bits of trivia is that given the commercial success of this film, if you can believe it, a sequel was planned that was going to take place in Mexico. That was going to be named Acapulco Roller Boogie. But sadly, it was dropped when the Roller Boogie fad faded, which is just one of the biggest losses to cinema. It never did.
It's still here.
They
I have
really,
my skates on right now.
They wanted this to be the Saturday Night Fever of roller skating.
Anyway, that's about it.
I'm just curious about that sequel because she leaves to go to Juilliard,
right,
to pursue music.
Yeah.
He stays in Venice Beach.
Right.
What are the circumstances that lead them not to
the Olympics in Acapulco?
Well, one, yes, the Olympics take place in Acapulco, but Terry actually has to flee America after developing a cocaine addiction.
Blair was a method actor, yeah. She really took a lot of heat for it.
She got it from her mother.
Yeah. Valium.
Brag about it, yeah.
I think that's all the trivia I have.
Yeah.
That is some incredible trivia.
To pitching our own sequels to this.
can we beat the sequel that was actually pitched to us?
This has
Acapulco
changed
roller
my
boogie.
plans as well. Yeah.
It's just tough thinking of a sequel.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's diffy. Wait.
Yes.
Okay. This would not be a strict sequel.
Okay.
Rather, it would be part of the Roller Boogie cinematic universe.
Okay.
But I propose this. So there's a sequence. Those of us in storytelling know this point well. It's like the false defeat or the dark night of the soul. I'm sure you remember this, Eli, from film class that we took.
I took that class.
Film 310, yeah. But
the intro class for some reason.
Yeah. It's strange, yeah. But okay, so there's this moment where the characters are like they've given up all hope. You know, we can't save the roller disco. We're just gonna have to give up skating, the thing that we love, because there are no longer any places to skate. So one of the things that happens is that Bobby James, I think, is working at his post, or he comes across some of his friends, and he says, "Hey, where's Phones?" They go, "Oh, Phones has given us all of his equipment, and he's never coming back." And then they turn, and out on the street, there is a cult, or a group of people. It was not very firmly established, but they're I think they're like playing drums or something. It's just it's a collective, and you turn and you see Phones stripped of his humanity, aka his headphones, and he's sadly walking in this procession, and it's only in the film for one scene, like maybe tens of frames. But I want to know what the sequence of events was that led Phones to giving up on his dream of skating so radically that he then was brought into this anti-skating cult. And if so, I want to know the story behind that and sort of what the dynamics at play were. Because I assume we don't see it, but I assume a lot happens. Like he may have worked his way up to cult leader. Like there may have been backstabbing, intricacies.
Right.
You know, anything can happen in a day. So I would like a careful examination, maybe like a true crime series of what was going on in there.
I like it.
I would like mine's going to be a prequel.
Oh,
so
okay.
Jammer.
It's when the Valium's produced.
so Jammer was like the top in the world, but then he got hurt. I want a noir-esque film that starts, towards the end, and it's like some gritty detective. It's filmed all in black and white, and he's walking out in the rain with like an overcoat and a hat, and he's like just talking about how he can't figure out who hurt Jammer, and he goes back and slowly finds that it's connected to the Russian mob or something stupid like that. That's what I would like to see.
Jammer.
I'm intrigued.
I have an idea. One that I think is golden. So I first need to bring up a scene that I can't remember if we mentioned, but there's a line of dialogue that is important into developing my plan here. So early in the film, when Bobby James and Terry are first introduced in the skating rink, you don't know what I'm doing yet. So as she leaves, right? Terry is done with Bobby James at this point. She leaves. She calls him a kid. She says, "You're just a kid." And he says the second greatest line in the film, which is, "I'm not a kid. My name is Bobby James," which shows the two most kiddish names that he could have possibly chosen to debate whether or not he was a kid. But either way, so he says, "I'm not a kid. My name's Bobby James." And Terry, with such a throwaway line, changed Bobby James's life forever. And she said, "Keep the change, Bobby James." And that line would have violent repercussions that would reverberate throughout the film, unseen throughout the film, but still there. What she didn't realize is that Bobby came from a very poor household, right? They had nothing. And he spent all of his time, he couldn't make any money because he kept leaving his job at the rollerblade stand to go rollerblade. So he didn't really understand money. But basically, as we don't see through the film, that sort of triggers something in his mind. Something breaks. And he begins to accumulate all the change that he comes across. And what I propose is not a movie sequel, but maybe 20, 30 years down the road, an HGTV hoarder series about Bobby James, where they open the door and it's just mounds and piles of change. And on the top of the change is one pair of rollerblades. And those sort of represent what's happened to his life, where he has kept the change, but he really needs to change.
God.
That's it.
That was.
That needs to be made.
Mine, I think, is going to be a prequel to the planned sequel. All right. So it takes place after Roller Boogie, but before whatever it was, Acapulco.
Acapulco Roller Boogie.
Yeah, Acapulco Roller Boogie. It follows two separate stories for about the first half of the film, right? Terry, we follow her path to cocaine addiction and her eventual fleeing to Mexico. Bobby James, training for the Olympics, starts blood pumping.
Yes.
Steroids, everything, has a heart attack. Can't compete in the Olympics, but tries to get back in it anyway. They meet. He then becomes addicted to cocaine, and then she starts blood pumping instead.
Okay.
And then it leads into Acapulco.
I like it. Sort of a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. An Empire Strikes Back.
Exactly. Perfectly.
Okay.
So we find out that Terry is Bobby James's father then, or?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You see, what I want is a found footage type film.
Okay.
Of the hours and hours of the mental dissension into madness of Franklin after he's locked in the trunk at the end of the movie and nobody comes back for him.
I forgot about that. They never get him out of that trunk. So
They don't let him out.
So mental dissension, do you mean he just has like a handheld camcorder in the trunk? Or okay.
Yes,
So it's sort of like Buried with Ryan Reynolds.
Yes. I was about to say that.
Okay.
He starts hallucinating.
Mhm.
He hallucinates his rescue.
He dies of heat stroke.
I can only assume then they continue to use the car, but they just don't let him out of the trunk. Is that what I'm understanding?
Oh no. Maybe that's why she couldn't fit the trophy in her luggage.
He's like, I can't even open the trunk anymore.
I think he's just doing a John Mulaney where he has his little hand out the he's knocked out the taillight and he's just waving.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Next segment. That was good. You get one change to the movie. Can be an actor, can be someone in any role, can be a little plot change, music, any of that. What do you do? I would add another 20-minute skating sequence.
Perfect.
That's what it needed.
It needs to get to 2 hours.
I think
Oh, it doesn't.
What?
I was talking about Kyle. He said it needs to get to 2 hours, and I said, no, it doesn't.
It needs to push 240.
At least.
I think I would cut out the roller skates.
They're just like walking,
They're
but
running.
they're acting like they are. We're sand skating.
They're not wearing shoes. They're just floating slightly above the ground.
That'd be really impressive.
Wait.
Yeah.
I revised that. I'm sorry. I keep the roller skates for everyone but Conway. So Kanye is continuing to float and
He's
just
a ghost.
crash wildly. And so the actual subplot is that is Clark Kent, and he is trying to learn to fly, and he has not quite mastered it yet.
Conway's secretly a ghost.
They will call it Conway Air.
It's just like the Sixth Sense. You figure it out at the end.
It's like that episode of Arthur where the ghosts at the Halloween party were actual ghosts. And they were floating, and they had to keep low to the ground. Anyways, what were you going to do, Alex?
Now, I know I suggested Torgo being Conway earlier,
You
but
did.
I'm going to revise that. Instead of Torgo being Kanye, he's actually instead Terry.
Mm.
And it's a love story between Bobby James and Torgo, two of the most influential characters in movie history, I think.
That
That's
makes
too powerful.
That is genius.
That would be an Oscar nom
That is
immediately.
pure Oscar bait.
I think I have one.
Do it then.
Okay. So my film, it's all of the same characters. I mean, minus some name changes based off what I'm about to say. But, basic same plot, same characters. The setting changes to deep Siberia, right? So the struggle becomes, how are we going to escape the Spetsnaz? The rollerblades keep freezing around the joints.
Wouldn't you just use ice skates at that point?
No,
Okay.
'cause that's not. I can't change.
That's not Boogie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't change two things.
Yeah.
You're not rolling at that
You
point.
can't change
Yeah,
two
you're
things.
sliding.
You want to change the scenery entirely and then have them chased by the Spetsnaz.
Well, that's just the logical change.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Why would American mall businessmen be in Siberia, Alex? It just doesn't make any sense. That's chasing them. And they've got frozen wheels.
For a moment, when you said that it would involve some name changes, I thought you were going to suggest that Terry should be renamed to Patty Black. And you were going to elaborately construct the frog joke within Roller Boogie.
That's I'm gonna have to do that later for another movie now.
Yeah. I'm writing your bits for you.
It's an addition.
But I don't know. Their name changes would be like Babowski,
Like Big Babowski.
The Big Lebowski.
the big Babowski, James.
It's a young Jeff Bridges.
And I don't know what Ted
Danson.
Babushka Terry and
Dima.
Terry's the same.
T.I.
It's just
Yeah.
Babushka Terry. Complete control Kanye would be like Khrushchev or whatever. Normal stuff. Anna?
Okay, I think my change would be so the movie would be in Conway's perspective.
Right.
It would be like a midnight gospel-esque. You hear his innermost philosophical musings while the chaos of the movie is background.
By point of view, do you mean like hardcore Henry, literally first person, or it's
No,
just from
just him flopping around town.
I understand. Okay.
I want that movie so bad.
All right. So it's time for our superlatives.
I've got one already.
You got one?
I gotta think of one.
I wouldn't say best, but definitely most shots of women in one piece in their butts. There was an ungodly amount of like random zoom-ins.
It did that a lot.
Wow, you would notice that.
It
What's
was
an
literally
ungodly?
half the movie, John.
I'm not complaining.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, please delineate the number difference between ungodly and godly.
Well, you see, godly is somewhere around, well, not somewhere around, it is exactly 69,
Okay, that makes sense.
right? And ungodly is any number above 420.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
Okay. I got my superlative. The best use of very poor gym etiquette out in the sun. So that one scene where, they're all working out and the one guy's benching, and his friends are there, and he's like, put another 10 on.
Mm.
And they get like, I don't know if they were 45s or what, but they put like 2 big weights on there, and he starts to lift, immediately drops it because, he can't lift that much. And then just standing there laughing at him the whole time before helping.
Very dangerous.
Yeah,
Very
extremely.
dangerous. Also, working out outside sounds really uncomfortable because your back will get sweaty and stick to the bench, and that just sounds terrible.
It's Venice Beach, baby. That's how they roll.
That's why you wear a shirt. But yeah, I think it has the best use of that bad gym etiquette outside in the sun.
Makes sense. I would probably say best proposition to eat a passion fruit in a film. Never
That's a good
before
one.
have I felt intimately sold on an object, as well as spiritually and sexually wanting to get it from the salesman. So, I just want to say thank you to Jimmy Van
Neutron.
It, I believe, was the name of the actor. He went on to be in 3 Saw films. So bless up. I'm sorry that your Wikipedia, that the Roller Boogie Wikipedia that says your name links to your dad. That's pretty sad, but that's just the state of things. Anyway, John, Anna.
Do you have yours, Anna?
I do not.
Okay, I'll go with mine then. Mine, I would give it a superlative for best use of a knife fake out that turns out to be a comb. Because there's a moment in which 2 dudes who end up being Bobby James's friends, but we don't know it at the time. They just tackle him essentially and sort of like put him in a headlock, and they pull out a knife. But they're like, I don't remember exactly what they say, but it turns out that they were actually just messing around, and it was a classic. It was actually a comb, and they were going to comb up his hair to look real good for the ladies. But I really had me wondering what kind of film this was going to be, though.
It's a turf war between opposing rollerbladers.
Yeah.
I would say my superlative would be luckiest creepy men. They don't deserve any of the girls that they hit on. They do too well.
It's so true.
Successful, aggressive. Well,
It's just a different time back then. That's how Boogie
yeah,
worked.
79. Man, it
Yeah.
wasn't
Truly a
illegal.
timepiece. film.
Yeah.
So, did this film deserve a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes? And what are you going to give it out of 10? Let's start with Alex.
I believe that, yes, it did deserve a 0%. I think there's about 20 minutes of plot in this hour 40 film. And the rest is unnecessary roller boogieing.
Very necessary.
The roller boogieing could have been kept to a 40-minute minimum.
But then you miss out on
It
so
was
much
kept to a
world
40
building.
minute. It was kept to a 40-minute minimum.
Yeah, you're right. Maximum. There we go.
Yeah.
But it was painful to watch at times. Honestly, it was just constant roller boogieing. Out of 10, I don't know. I'd probably honestly give it like a 1.5.
Eli.
I would not give it a 0. I don't think it deserves the 0%. I don't think it's the worst film we've reviewed so far. I'm going to give it a 1.5, which is up from a 1.2 that I gave to They Saved Hitler's Brain. So I think this at least had a couple moments of funny lines. We spent about 10 minutes laughing at the passion fruit thing, as well as Keep the Change, Bobby James. I think those 2 lines made the entire film for me. They let me survive. So yeah, 1.5.
I'm going to say no, it does not deserve the 0%. I would give it a strong 3.
Ooh.
Would rewatch.
High praise.
Is this a 3 out of 5 or a 3 out of 10?
That's a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
John.
This definitely does not deserve a 0%. I'd probably give this 3.5 to 4 stars
Okay.
out of 5.
Interesting.
Well, I think it definitely deserves a 0%.
What?
The only part I thought, like, other than the few funny lines that I thought was actually good, I really liked the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was nice, but I would give it a 2 out of 10.
Hold up, John.
Yes.
3.5 to 4 out of 5?
I'm a big fan of this movie.
2 out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta
It's
check
good,
it out.
dude. What other movie do you know where your lead character, when encountered with like a difficult emotional situation, they go and dance at the roller skating rink, but they're pouting while doing it?
I don't know. That sells it for me. Actually, 10 out of 10. I changed my mind.
That makes sense.
In Happy Gilmore, he goes to an ice skating rink during emotional situations. So
That's not roller skating.
I think it's the same movie.
They stole it from this
Happy
movie.
Gilmore and roller skating are the same.
All right. I think we did some good stuff here.
Indeed.
Tune in next week for
Stuff here.
Heart Beeps
The Lord.
Heart Beeps.
with a special guest that this time we know in advance. Now, we're not going to tell you, but it's a great guess. You got to guess it on Twitter whenever we do that.
It's so true. It's Alex.
It's Alex.
Yeah. We're happy to have him on.
Thanks for welcoming me back, guys.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure.
Anna, thank you so much. Do you have anything to plug?
I do not. Please don't find me.
Do you have so that's your anti-plug is yourself?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What?
All right, fellas, it was good. It's a wrap. We have less than a minute. It's going to
All right.
stop any second. Oh, my God.
All right.